Hello and welcome to a special summer episode of the CX Files podcast. It's the 14th of August 2025 and my name is Mark Hillary and I'm in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Peter and I are back with regular episodes from September 4th, but in the meantime, we're sharing a few memories from 5 years ago. That's right, we are now 5 years on from the COVID-19 pandemic. Although CX Files is a weekly podcast, we went almost daily during the early days of the pandemic, calling people around in the CX industry to learn how they were coping with the sudden challenge of running a business through a pandemic and with absolutely everybody working from home. For the first of these three memories of 2020, I want to share a conversation that I had with John Devlin, the founder and CEO of Ascensos. John is based up in Scotland and he remains in the same position now, although the company was acquired by Firstsource in 2024. This conversation with John was recorded and published on March 26, 2020, which was just 3 days after the first national lockdown was announced by the Prime Minister in the UK. But this is actually on the day that the lockdown came into effect. So this was right at the start of the COVID lockdown. This initial lockdown required people to stay at home except for essential purposes like exercise, grocery shopping or medical needs. Schools and all non-essential businesses were closed, which meant all restaurants, all bars, anything that was seen as non-essential was closed down, and social gatherings were severely restricted as well. This lockdown was initially for 3 weeks, but as we know, it was later extended and there were multiple lockdowns through 2020 and lots of chaos that continued right through 2021 as well. Listen to John describing how his company responded to one of the most unusual business challenges in our lifetime, recorded on the very first day of the first COVID lockdown. Okay, John, just to kick off then, how has this been affecting you? What have you had to do to get through this immediate crisis then?
I'm sitting here in my office in Scotland at the moment, Mark, and it reminds me of when we set the business up at first, actually 6 years ago. I'm looking out onto masses of empty seats, but of course it's completely different. Everything has changed in the blink of an eye. We really are in a war zone, and like during wartime, I think it's necessity is the mother of invention, and we've all had to be super creative, super inventive, and deliver technology development at a much accelerated pace. So in the space of 2 weeks, we've really adjusted the bias in our business to be predominantly working from home and using technology to take up the slack there, really, with some of the more binary transactions that we conventionally would handle within the office. We're now using assisted technology and RPA to manage a lot of those transactions, as well as having over 600 of our people now enabled and productively working from a home environment. So it's been a massive change in our business, and I'm sure it's the same for everyone else across the industry.
Have you actually had to shift people from one location to another then, or it's mainly been putting people from the contact centre into the home?
We've moved people from the contact centre into the home, and we've also restructured teams internally and at home to support more of the essential work we're doing for certain clients and certain organisations, like we're supporting the NHS that we weren't doing 2 weeks ago. We're now supporting the NHS with some key worker support for essential services, manning coronavirus helpline, to allow them to free up more of their clinical staff to focus on health and well-being of citizens. So it's been a huge adjustment for us, not just in terms of setting up home working, but changing the projects and changing the way that we're structured internally to support more of these essential services.
Yeah, and I saw that you were offering some of your UK offices to the NHS or other NGOs. I mean, has anyone taken that offer up?
Yeah, we're working with some local community groups who are very keen to have some space, because obviously, whether it's the NHS or other voluntary community groups, the focus on physical social distancing has changed as well. In the space of 2 weeks, we're all talking a different language around about social distancing, and contact centres, as you know, are set up to optimise space to make them as highly occupied as you possibly could. That's always been the way that contact centres have been designed and developed. Now we've had to move into a sense of creating social distancing and creating, in the UK anyway, creating 2 metres between any adjacent colleagues. So a lot of voluntary organisations and the NHS within their own centres just can't cope with that, as they are increasing the number of people within their own business. They need to find more space. So we've offered any of our empty spaces to these organisations to allow them just to scale at this time of national crisis.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, what are you saying to your clients then? I mean, how are you advising them to sort of get through this immediate crisis then?
Well, we've been working with them on business continuity, clearly, to get through this crisis. And there's a combination of factors there. You know, some clients are seeing increases in demand. So as we have clients in the supermarket, grocery space, who are seeing real massive over forecast levels of demand at the moment. And we're having to, as I say, deploy some technology there alongside increasing our homeworking and on-site capability, and trying to ensure we've got strong messaging in place through IVRs or through websites or through any other proactive means of communication. It can even be SMS messaging to advise their customers the best way in which they can get a response to their inquiry at any given point. So we're working collaboratively with our clients to make sure we can balance that increase in workload and increase in demand. But on the other side, we have other clients who are obviously seeing a drop-off in demand as people aren't able to go out to bars, to clubs, to restaurants, to go on holiday. There's a drop-off in demand for some discretionary spend on fashion retail, for instance. So again, we're adjusting our teams to focus on where the demand exists and move away from the areas that the demand is reducing in.
Okay, that's interesting as well then. Yeah, so you know, for some people this is actually turning out to be helpful, and obviously for others they're suffering. I mean, where do you think it's going to end up in future? I mean, as we see some sort of normality come back into the economy again, do you think that your clients are going to change the way that they operate?
I think that's undoubtedly going to be the case, that our industry, the CX industry, and our clients will change. Everyone's going to be looking for more resilience, more agility in their core business proposition. I think the home working model, which was everyone had the technology capability for home working, but there was very little deployment of it. I think that's going to be a core proposition for everyone going forward, and that may mean that the BPO industry that we're part of has to make an adjustment in that direction as well. We're going to see acceleration in the rollout of digital, and I think that's inevitable. When we last spoke in one of your previous podcasts, we spoke about, you know, the acceleration of digital and how that would be enabled by the rollout of 5G in the economy. And I think even more so than ever, that's going to be the case. There's going to be real embracing of digital transformation now. If people were paying it lip service before, then they will no longer be paying it lip service. It will be front and central of any strategic way forward for us and for our clients as we go into the new modus operandi for us all once we come out the other side of this current crisis.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people just paid work-at-home agents lip service as well, even though, I've seen Stephen Loynes, the analyst, he was publishing articles about this about 14 or 15 years ago, saying that if there's a crisis like a pandemic, you need to have a percentage of your team working from home. And it seems that we've always just kind of ignored this in the past. You think that that's going to be one of the fundamental changes in future then?
Well, I think it will be. I think risk entirely will come up the priority order, within any decision-making process, any strategic planning. Risk will feature very heavily as we go forward. I don't think anyone predicted business continuity challenges in the way that the world is experiencing at the moment, through this pandemic. I think everyone had BCP plans for certain events, whether it's system outages, power, weather, through localized health conditions, but no one really had managed a risk portfolio based on this level of pandemic. But I think it will come up in the prioritisation going forward, Mark, certainly, and why wouldn't it? Thanks for listening to the CX Files podcast. We really appreciate your feedback and suggestions. You can reach myself, Mark Hillary, or Peter Ryan via LinkedIn. Please also leave a rating or review on your favourite podcast provider, as that helps more people to find us. As always, we'd like to thank Chris Haig at Traction Media for the CX Files graphics. See you next week.